In this video, we're going to look at result clauses. But first, let's do some review. Latin verbs can be conjugated into any one of the three moods, and the tone and meaning of each conjugated verb is dictated by the mood. Let's look at a few examples. For the indicative, our example is ambulat, he walks. For the imperative, our example is ambula, walk. And for the subjunctive, our example is ambulat, let him walk. The subjunctive is a statement from a non-neutral observer who has a bias or opinion that they wish to express. For example, we might see the speaker's will, such as in the sentence, he should not talk right now. We might see the speaker's wish, would that Rome win the war? And we might see possibility, such as, Cicero might speak this evening. In addition, the subjunctive is also used to show that a part of the sentence is being subordinated, such as in the sentence, he is going to Rome in order to see the consul. The subordinate part of the sentence is, in order to see the consul. Remember that you will learn various ways in which the subjunctive is used, and consequently there is no one way to translate a subjunctive verb into English. Rather, you must learn the nuances of each construction to provide an accurate translation. So let's take a look at result clauses. What you're going to be doing here is looking at clauses which express that one thing is a result of another. And it's easy to remember that result clauses are set up in the same structure as a yo mama joke. I know I'm being kind of silly here, but it's actually very helpful. And so I have a twist on a yo mama joke for our first example. Octavian's mama was so pious that she was respected everywhere. Okay, so it's not insulting, but we do nice positive sentences here in Latin class. And you can see how this sentence follows the structure of a quote-unquote yo mama joke. However, this is a very good example of a result clause. Other examples include Octavian was so talented that he conquered the known world, and Octavian was so handsome that I would have married him. That's true, by the way. You typically have the words so or such or to such an extent or something along these lines, which will help you set up your result clause, just as we have the traditional yo mama joke, your mama is so blank, that blank happens. The same thing goes here. And here are your trigger words, that is, the most commonly used words to set off a result clause. So we have talus, adeo, tantus, tam, ita, tot, and seek. I've given you a handy little mnemonic to help you remember these words. Tal and tammy is totally sick. I've also provided the meanings for you. I highly recommend that you memorize these words, because if you see a trigger word, such as these, plus ut or ne, as you will see in just a few seconds, you're more than likely than not working with a result clause, and having these words in mind will help you make identifying the subjunctive clause you're working with substantially easier. So here is the basic structure for essentially all standard result clauses. You might see some variations in authentic Latin, which is fine, but for now, if you can master this structure, you'll be good to go. So we start off with a main clause, which usually contains one of those trigger words, or tal and tammy words, that I showed you on the previous page. Then we'll have either the particles ut or ne, depending if the sentence is a positive result or a negative result. And then finally, you'll have a subordinated subjunctive clause, that is, a subordinate clause with a subjunctive verb. Remember that positive result clauses begin with the Latin word ut, and negative result clauses begin with ne. Okay, let's take this sample sentence. There were so many books in Octavian's library that the shelves nearly fell down. In this sentence, I want you to identify the main clause, the trigger word, where we put the ut or ne, and the result clause. Go ahead and pause the video now and see if you can figure it out. In a few seconds, I'll switch the slide. Okay, so our main clause is, there were so many books in Octavian's library. Your trigger word is so many, which would be expressed in Latin by the word tot. You would put an ut, where I've highlighted that in English, and your subordinated result clause would be, the shelves nearly fell down. Okay, let's look at the tenses. The pattern for tenses here is the same as in the purpose clauses. So the verb that is in the subjunctive, we put in the present subjunctive if the main verb is present or future. We put the subjunctive verb into the imperfect if the main verb is past. Let's look at a couple examples. Your mother is so just that everyone loves her. Our main verb is, that is est in Latin, which is in the present tense. So we're going to use the present subjunctive for our subordinated result clause. So we have the word ament. Now let's look at the second sentence. Octavian's mother was so just that everyone loved her. Our main clause verb is was, which is in the past tense. Erat is in Latin. So we're going to use the imperfect subjunctive for the result clause, amarent. Okay, that's our short lesson on result clauses.